Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design, where you get more than you expect, or perhaps more than you want. Before I begin, I want to do a little public service announcement about these flowers. This is Alstroemeria, and it's one of the flowers I love the most. The only negative thing I can say about them is that they are totally unscented. Now, this bouquet is a good 2 weeks old. I bought what they call a grower's bundle from Costco and have cut down the stems twice. Now, you would have to do, well, I guess you'd have to see something like this to realize that, yes, I lost a lot of petals the last time I handled them. And in fact, there go a couple more. However, these plants are such good value for your money because of their long vase life. Now, we know that, for instance, if you bought a lily with, 6 petals and you lost one or two, that's pretty well game over for that. However, with flowers like this, they just go on and on and on. And the beauty of them, even though this is a shade of pink, they come in white, white with a tinge of green, yellow, orange, red, pinky purple. Maybe that's it. Now, I bought these when the buds were closed. I think the thing that makes them so exotic looking is that they almost look a little bit like orchids. And they have this speckled throat on them. So anyway, that's Alstroemeria. And I can, maybe spell that out for you in the description box. Anyway, let us begin. If you have seen any of my thrift haul videos, you know that I buy a fair bit of clothing, and much of it is infant clothing. So, maybe a year or more ago, you would have seen me show you this cute little polka dot dress. I think, I don't know anyone who doesn't love polka dots, to be honest. So, of course, I showed it in a thrift haul. Then I took it apart. Some of it still wasn't fully taken apart when I started prepping for this video. So I did a little more deconstruction. What I intend to show you, and not into great detail because we're covering a fair bit of ground today, is how tiny little garments like this can provide so much material for your journal or crafting needs. And there are a few things that I've done a little bit of prep to, others that I'm going to do, live and in color. So let's just look at what this dress offers. Now, yesterday, okay, this is Monday. On Sunday, my daughter and I, we have seasons tickets for the Citadel Theater. And yesterday's performance was The Three Musketeers. So, of course, that's, covers a period in France and very ornate costuming and so on. And I have to say that some of those, like the Queen's dress, for instance, was as wide as it was tall. I mean, not flattering whatsoever to any size woman. But there's something in common with baby clothes, because look at the size of this. Like this, well, my thing is covered here, but if I don't overlap, I've got 40 inches of fabric here. Over 40 inches. So what do royalty and little babies have? Wide clothes. Now, of course, this would have probably been gathered quite a bit. Plus, we know that babies spend a lot of time sitting and they've got to accommodate the diaper and all of that. So I'm not sure what I would do with this other than, oh, I should have gotten a seam ripper. Other than, oh my goodness, do I not have a seam ripper here? I think I own about 3 of them, but is it ever where you need it? Oh, there it is. This dress has 2 darts in it. So you can see from this side that is, you know, that's not a real seam there. So I might as well take this apart. I would, mind you, I could probably save some time and just cut right there too. Maybe I should just do that. And then we'll have a more realistic idea of what size pieces I really have here. So I just have these cute little scissors. Maybe I'll just clear that area a bit. Clear that dart area. And I'm going to have to cut through that. So you can see it's got 4 rows of lace, which, you know, that's got to be worth something on itself. So now, I should have a real ruler here, just to give you an idea of proportions. Now, of course, all I'm throwing out here today are some ideas, some possibilities. What you do with the clothes you might thrift will depend on what you get. So this is nearly 11 inches. Now that has to be straightened out a bit. So that's a good sized something. Does this get used? Does part of it get used on a journal cover and maybe have these rows of lace facing the, you know, let's pretend that this was our cover. You know, and then, of course, some additional decorating. Now, of course, there isn't enough to do a book this size, but there certainly is enough to add to the front of a journal. Or it can be, well, let me show you. There's that other dart, so we're going to cut along there. So we'll probably end up with a piece about the same size as the one I just showed you. So now we have 2. And then we have this one that is, you know, a good, how many inches? You know, basically 22 inches. And even if you straighten this out and turned it under, there's still plenty here. In fact, you could make 2 small journal covers with it. Well, actually not that small, to be honest. Okay, what are we doing what are we saying height-wise? 9 inches to the bottom of that lace. Oh, maybe I measured I didn't have it lined up well. But, you know, really a pretty decent sized, 8.5. So, not going to do anything with this because, you know, at that rate, we won't get anything else done. But, so now, this obviously is so much closer to being ready to use than if I had a little bunched up dress somewhere. Now, what I started doing, let me show you. Okay. Oh, that glue really went through. Well, that would have to be decorated. Okay, I used Aleene's Tacky Glue. Okay, this was the front. This is the little bodice. So, you know, with the part, and there's where the shoulder seam would have been, and of course the sleeves would have been here, or one sleeve would have been there. So this is now just over 3 inches. It was kind of nice working with this because if I use the dots going in either direction as my cutting guide. Now I've left this seam on, and it's kind of cute, I think. have these little raggedy bits here. So obviously to leave the little yoke part, I mean this part on, would have made the thing too, I don't know. Okay, let's pretend this is a journal page. So a person could glue this on, like sew around it, and maybe that would make sense because there is this white top stitching here. So this could be top stitched around in white and then used as a side pocket. Of course, it could be further decorated. And in fact, because the glue bled through, it would have to be. So there's that. Add it to the pile. I didn't take apart the last sleeve because I wanted to see you to see how poofy it is. You know, the way I would do this, of course, is cut it on that seam. Now there is a little elastic there. It wouldn't take much because those stitches are nice and big to remove that elastic, and then of course end up with a flat piece of fabric, which is what I'm sure I did on the other sleeve. So then I had all these little bits. Now, because this is a pretty color and because it's a subtle pattern, and as I said, everybody loves polka dots, it seemed to me that these, you know, a bigger piece, well, even say pieces this size could be worked into fabric flips, which again, we've done that recently, so I'm not going to bother with that, but it shows you the options, or even that one. And or maybe these smaller ones would all be the basis or an accent on a fabric cluster. So those things would be kept aside to be used that way. Now this was, okay, what did I do here? Oh, I know. Okay, so of course, to get the little kid into the dress, there are these two buttons. Now, I didn't change the placements at all. I really didn't do anything other than square it off. I left that intact because if I'd have removed that, I would have had to do something here. Now, to me, this button is a little close to the edge, so I think it would be, when I'm actually ready to use it, I would take that button off and move it over or gather it over here or whatever. But wouldn't that be the start of a cute little pocket? It's already reinforced because it's, you know, it's folded over on itself. And again, if a person wanted to do some stitching around, certainly if a person stitched on here, it would help this lie flatter than it is, which is a good thing. Now this, of course, well, I guess it was this way. This would have been the button that went on here. I'm not sure why I don't know. Oh, I guess, oh, I know. I thought that this could be, again, the start of a fabric cluster. And that little buttonhole would be very convenient to hang something from. So it could be a safety pin, a bulb pin, it could be some ribbon, or, you know, whatever a person kind of desires. I don't know if I have. Well, I just have this pink bias tip that I used on something else. But, you know, pretend that this was ribbon and pretend that it matched better. Mind you, a lot of people like this pink and turquoise thing, you know, so you can tie a bow or whatever, or do the traditional loop-de-loo thing that everyone does through tag openings. You know, this move here. I can't go all the way because, of course, I didn't cut it off, but you know what I mean. Whoops. So there's that. Like I said, I would move that button. This, too, could be really cute in terms of a cluster with that little buttonhole there. Okay, so the sleeve, I'm not going to do anything with it right now. Although, maybe let me just show you that if I open this, it will be a little easier to store. Now, with doing these seams, with opening up seams, you have a couple of options. You can either, well, not so much on this one because it's been like zigzagged and overcasted too. Is overcasted a word? Overcasted? I don't know. To, finish the seam. On a traditional seam, it would be open and you could, just aim your scissors down the center of that. Now, you can cut it off and isolate this little part and then have an additional little decoration. Now, again, do I want to take the time? Well, you know what this involves to take out an elastic. You just pick some of these seams, and then of course the elastic will pop off, and you will then have a flat piece of fabric. So, what did I do with the other? Oh, I must have cut the lace off. I guess the other thing to keep in mind is you could keep the lace the elastic intact. Maybe I should do that. And just kind of, again, I'll follow the dots if I can. Although a raggedy edge would be okay too. So basically, I'm just cutting along this row of dots. This is kind of unruly. I should actually have some bigger sewing scissors here. I like these though. I bought these at Walmart. The brand is Viva Infinite. I think I have a couple pairs. They're reasonably comfortable. Because I only use them for fabric, they stay sharp. And, they're kind of good. They're a good size to, not that you'd want to, if you made one pair paper scissors, you wouldn't want to do a great deal of fussy cutting with something this small, or at least I wouldn't. Yoy, where's that almost last dot? Okay, so now you can see, well, I'd have to trim. Let me do that too. You get the picture. I'll do this later because at this point I won't even get to the other fabrics I want to show you. Now we've got this little thing. So is this not the optimum of a ruffle? Like a fabric ruffle? So this could easily be glued down. It's too bad that this piece of paper is all macaroni because it doesn't quite jive, but a person could ironing never hurts, but a person could glue this down and you've automatically got that little ruffly thing happening. It's not, I guess you could stretch it. Well, if it would take some clamping, I'm sure, to hold this down till it sets. But I think what I would do is cut this maybe into thirds and then have 3 smaller, more manageable pieces to deal with. So there's that. Then this little dress also had this big collar and this, So what I did was I basically tried to pick a size that I thought would be okay, thinking that this could be a pocket. Now it's got this, now this cut edge. It also, of course, has two thicknesses. So that means that it could be, this part could be glued onto cardboard to give it a little more rigidity. And then there'd be a pocket at the back, and then there would be a pocket right there. Oh, hey, I know I had something as an option for, I hope I didn't. I had one of these little maybe maybe I forgot my plan. I thought I had a little strip that could have, this one, that could have almost finished off the top of this. So, maybe to enclose that cut edge, a person would fold this over. You'd pretty well have to hand stitch it or glue it. Or sacrifice the actual inner pocket, and that way you could sew it across, machine stitch it. You'd end up closing the pocket, but you would still have the one behind. Now, it's not quite long enough, but that's okay. I like that this angle matches this angle. And then, you smack a little flower down or something, and hey, you're in business. I just wanted to see what this might look like on there if we were to control this lace or this elastic a bit. It got quiet all of a sudden because I just realized that I didn't apologize for the dryer going. It seems like when let's pretend, I have a stick pin here. Let's, if I'm going to do laundry, I want to do it kind of all in one fell swoop. So kind of, load after load after load. Now, a good way to do this would be, of course, to pin it, and then it's going to stay put until it gets sewn, or I guess even glued for that matter. So that could be really cute too. In fact, maybe that's the cutest solution so far. I'll leave that pinned together as a reminder. Okay, so that, we still have this half. So again, does a person, because I guess I wasn't that careful when I cut it off its seam, you kind of figure, okay, how do I get the most mileage out of this? I guess the simplest thing would be to snip those few stitches, and then you're kind of more free to do what you want to do. So that could mean, or maybe it means cutting this off. In fact, why don't we just do that? Where did I? Okay, right here. So I'm just basically lining up this seam here. Boy, that's going to be close to that. I'm going to leave the little rosebud intact, but I think, well, maybe not. Let me just quickly snip it off there. If I sound like I have a little more zip in my step, it's because I got a very good phone call today. So it was on my cell phone, and of course there's call display, and it's the hospital calling. And normally, well, first of all, the pessimist in me thought, okay, now what? I thought I was going to hear some kind of an excuse. Oh, is that starting to come apart? I might have to give it a little dab of something to keep it from unraveling. Anyway, so the phone rings, I answer it, and it turns out that it's the surgical department. Now, I have been waiting for 3 years for a surgical consult. Now, I had that earlier this year. I can't remember if it was in March. or February. I don't know, a month or two ago. Anyway, at the time, the surgeon said, oh, and she was so awesome. Anyway, she said, yes, there is a surgical fix for what ails you. And I, of course, asked the next question, which is, how long? And she's, well, if you'd have asked yesterday, I'd have said 6 months. But since things have backed up a bit, I'm saying 8 to 9 months now. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Anyway, I just put that aside so I don't lose it. But we can almost be guaranteed that I will lose it. Anyway, so that's sort of the mindset that I had. And I at this point, I don't think I will ever at any point get into the nitty gritty of what it is. Let's just say it's in the nether regions. And I don't mean like Antarctica. I mean more like South America. So anyway, I'm just flabbergasted. I cannot believe that she's calling and offering me a surgical date in June. That's a heck of a lot sooner than I expected or was led to believe it would be. So I said, what I need to attend a pre-op clinic? And she said, yes, after you accept the surgery date, you would be contacted by them and, that would be scheduled and so on. I don't know, since I moved this after I got rid of the flowers, let's just hope I'm kind of where I need to be. I never even thought of that. Oh, I'm way over where I usually am. Sorry, guys. Boy, I'm going to be annoyed. So you were probably looking at the inside of my purple button jar all this time. Yikes. I never really thought of taking a gander at what you were seeing. Sorry. Anyway, I must be too excited about surgery. So I asked her a couple other questions, and then I'm thinking, I got to let my peeps know. But first of all, I needed to find the info that the surgeon had given me a couple months ago. And I think you've heard me say this before. I thought I put it in a really good place, and that was the first place I checked. Could not find it, and then I'm annoyed. So then I look at what I think might be the second spot. Can't find it there. Begin turning things upside down. Then I have a more thorough look at my first place and realize it was there all along. So at that point, I call my daughter and tell her my husband is in a day-long meeting, so he'll find out when he gets home. Anyway, so June 5th is a big day. At some point, someone will call and book a pre-op, and if you've ever had surgery, you know what that's all about. It'll be a nurse who will they will at that point hand over some requisitions for blood work, urinalysis, probably an ECG, and tell you in practical and real terms what the recovery period might be like and so on, and how it affects your daily living. What I did reread once I found my papers, I guess I should figure out what I'm doing before, instead of just keep flipping this over and over. This could be, where's my macaroni sheet? If this side got closed up, this could be another kind of an interesting shaped pocket. Like, I'm thinking I would leave this little angle intact, or maybe, would it be dumb to bring this back? That could be another little option. So probably, because this is, just plain old cotton, maybe for stability's sake, Well, this could be folded back very artfully. Let's just say that. You know, maybe something like that. This, okay, okay, this is what I'm thinking. A piece of white cardstock or scrap card, you know, something from packaging or whatever that's white, this could get glued to. Then it could get sewn, so there's kind of a finished looking edge there. Then this would be a pocket and this would be a tuck spot. The top would probably get closed up with, you know, a different lace of some sort. Again, I don't really have, well, let's pretend. I mean, this isn't lace, it's a ruffle, but you can see that it could become any style you want it to be. It could be kind of countryish almost with that. It could be something like this. Or maybe by the time I'm working on this, I'll actually have all my purple journals done and I won't have anything purple within reach. But you know what I'm driving at. It could be finished however you want it to match your current project. Now this probably isn't going to tear because it's probably at a diagonal. Right, I am. Ugh. Well, that basically ripped it right out of there. So a little bit of scrap lace to use. This I'm throwing out. Anyway, so yes, I'm looking forward to hearing that. And as I said to my daughter, now it's a matter of getting my affairs in order. Not because I think I'm going to die on the table. I have, you know, stuff happens, obviously, but that's not ever the mindset I go into a surgery with. I remember a surgeon once was talking to me about a procedure, and I said to him, he says, there's a 50-50 chance. And I said, of me dying on the table? And he said, no, of me being able to do it. He says, like he was just horrified, because surgeons, of course, never like to think that anyone dies. No, there was going to be the possibility of scar tissue, previous scar tissue interfering. And as it turned out, that's exactly what happened. And he couldn't do what he intended to do. Okay, this was a little jacket. Here's the collar. Now this is probably as close to fleece as a little kid, 12-month kid, Carter's brand, I'll save this label, would ever wear, especially at that age. And it's thick and it's substantial. So of course that becomes a factor in any consideration here. That you know, how much bulk can you afford to add to your project? So again, because little kid clothing is so funny, short and fat, this was the part, I guess there was a seam here, so it's not like a peplum really, but just a seam for interest. So I've left all this intact. Oh, and even a little scallopy thing here. I can't believe you had to look at the, did you see the little dish that I had nuts in? I hope not. This is a sleeve. This is a sleeve. This is the back yoke. And if this was a double, or maybe, no, this was the front. This was a little double-breasted thing. So I had 4 buttonholes, and I thought, well, okay, what about that? Now, because there was this light pink here, I just ran 2 strips and 2 strips of that seam binding. I didn't bother gluing it in between, you know, gluing this closed. I figured it's, you know, it's not going to be a factor. And so this is what I have. So I was thinking that this is about the right width for a pocket, just 5 inches. But And it's nice to have the finished edge. However, I can't get rid of this because of the buttonholes. So this becomes fairly thick, and it's not even glued down yet, and it's not even packed with anything, because this could be like a little belly band, or it could just be decorative. So what I'm thinking with this is to cut it down. Well, let's first square this off. So I thought that I would, as much as it's nice to, well, maybe I'll leave the top intact, but I'll get rid of some of the bulk on each side by getting rid of, you know, like this seam has a lot, that's like 4 thicknesses right there. So I think we can do without that. Now this is kind of really kind of a crappy cutting mat here, but since I'm using this quilter's grid, I'm thinking it'll do. Geez, that dryer. You know, if you don't get to it right away, it just keeps agitating every so often to keep things from getting creased, I guess. You know, just sitting there in a heap. Well, that kind of didn't do very well, did it? Oh, that was where the seam binding was. And that's where the seam binding was. I'll just help it along. That's kind of not very good, is it? Okay, so we'll throw this away. So this would have to be stitched down to make it stay with some sort of flatness. I think now we're down to 4 3/4. But again, we have this bulk here, so I'm thinking I at least want to take that 1/4 inch off. So let's try this again. Anyway, oh, I was saying about the surgery. I was reading the papers that she had given me I had asked the woman on the phone. I said, what can you tell me about recovery period? And she's, I really don't know what she's doing, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, that's fine. I'll find my papers and reread. And of course, that's a question to ask at the pre-op also. I think I'm going to move a hair over, just, mind you, that's going to come off, so I shouldn't worry about it too much. And again, with fabric, it's easy enough to, you know, disguise something untoward with lace or, you know, some kind of fancy trim. Again, that was where the seam binding was. Anyway, when I looked at the papers, the handout, it said, you know, the typical 6 weeks, no lifting, straining, whatever, vigorous exercise. I thought, oh my God, no vigorous exercise. Like, that's a laugh. I would have to start vigorous exercise in order to have to give it up. Not likely. Anyway, but then elsewhere it says it could be up to 3 months to have maximum strength and total healing. I'm thinking, holy cow. So, I mean, I guess I'll just have to pace myself with yard work and so on. Not do anything stupid here in the studio in terms of lifting things. I'm thinking that maybe to reduce some bulk, I should just hack away at this a bit. Kind of just basically clear the area with the seam binding. Try to be relatively straight. I mean, that little bit of removing this stuff will, I guess, help a bit. Again, I'll chuck that out. So yes, next time I have white thread in the sewing machine, or maybe pink, I don't know, I'll run around there with probably a zigzag. And then I have a pocket with a nice finished edge. So let me see what else I can tell you about this. So again, there will be oddball shapes that could be used as fabric flips. Don't know what I want to do with the collar. This may be the kind of thing where it's just best to cut that seam off and maybe do a bit of slow stitching. Like that's a pretty flower there. That could be enhanced with some slow stitching. Likewise on this side, and they become focal points. So let's do that. I really should have brought some kind of adult size scissors here. Anyway. So yes, it's exciting days ahead. Oh, anyway, I was saying, yeah, getting my affairs in order. So I would be, of course, doing whatever heavier yard work needs to be done ahead of time. I will, of course, do videos and so on. One thing I found out about this fabric, and I don't know, I don't think it was these sleeves. I'm going to put these sleeves aside. They're big enough that they could, you know, if I cut it right, they could be cute little journal covers. Now, mind you, the pattern goes, you know, it would have to be like so. But, you know, I love those little micro and mini things. So, yeah, I think, in fact, let me cut this right now. Or no, maybe I won't. I'll leave this intact because I don't know how big a piece I want. But what I discovered is that there are 2 layers here. If I can get it separated, I'll show you. So it's almost, it's not like a fusible web, I don't think. I don't know if it was just an attempt to soften it up, because, you know, baby skin and all. But this, of course, would be great. It's more densely woven than cheesecloth. It could be dyed. I can imagine throwing this into a cup of coffee and having it turn out, you know, to be a good color, or whatever color dye. This is, now what is this? Could this be the back? Okay, this was the skirt parts, or well, not the skirt, the bottom of the jacket. I'm going to leave that intact, but again, you know, possibility for cute little journal covers, or because there's, you know, heft to this fabric on its own, I could also you know, just oh my goodness, my mind is slipping. I could also slow stitch on there, and it can be a journal top or whatever. This could be the basis of the focal point of a little fabric flip. Wouldn't that be the cutest little thing? So again, I'm probably starting to repeat myself, you know, saying the same thing over again, like fabric flip, pocket, fabric flip, pocket. So I'll stop doing that. And I'll make a little pile of this stuff, and know that at some point you will no doubt see these things reappear. But I have more to show you. I bought this little dress. Now this is the little bodice, and the straps. Can you imagine how cute this would have been? Yeah, these are the two. So these are the straps. So this would have been attached here and here. You can see where I cut it. So that would be a strap. And then likewise on this side, that would be a strap. So I cut these off because, of course, that is ready-made page edging. or belly band. I mean, maybe it's too long for a belly band. Oh, where am I here? Yeah, that's 10 inches. But who knows? Maybe on a tall skinny, that would be perfect. So I got 2 of those. And then I left this little crinoline-y bit here, partly because it has all this hot glue. Now, I could take my heat gun to it, and I guess I'll have to get this glue residue off. But the way it was finished, and the reason I took it off was so that I could, you know, cut past here. But they had these, because there's a lot of glue left, and of course you can't see it, but I can feel it. A lot of glue left on these 3 flowers, which would have been the decorative piece right here at the center of the dress. Oh, over there, because there's the glue. So yes, so I have this also that can be used. And again, of course, dyed. But I do like the fact that this little, it almost looks like a little bit of a tutu or something. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I'll do with this. I suppose I could, well, let's just do it. I will cut it here at the seam. So now this, I should neaten this up. This is where I cut the strap off. I thought I got a bit closer. So this could be the start of a fabric flip as well. Now again, it's doubled up. You know, that could, oh, it's not holding very well, so maybe I should just, I'll cut along here, and then we'll have that little tulle part that could be, you know, used to decorate the top of a pocket or something. And now I have this, which is several layers. So, you know, again, depending on, you know, do you cut it in half and make it 2 page flips? That could be a possibility there. Do the same on this side. And then we've got this. So what are we doing? How are we doing for dimensions here? So this is 9 inches from one end to the other. Now a person could, of course, you know, cut it like so. No, I would think that it would be better first to sew it and then cut outside the stitching. You know, it would help hold it all together. And then wouldn't that be a unique pocket? And maybe even leave this on here, although it is many, 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 many layers. I wonder if I cut, let's see what would happen if I cut some of that off. Because really, this is so bulky. I mean, hopefully you can see how bulky it is. And again, we don't need this seam, oh my goodness, enclosed in this way, because it's no longer a finished garment rubbing up against that baby's soft skin. It's finding its way into a journal. And it doesn't help that, frankly, that there's all that gobbed up glue there, hot glue. So, you know, once I get rid of that, it will help with some of the rigidity and thickness. Boy, I'm putting my little scissors to the test here. Just trying to go slowly so that I don't cut something I didn't intend to cut. And I think I will throw this out. Yeah, gobs of, look at how much glue there is there. But that, I think, helped a little bit. Anyway, you get the picture. So this too has to go to the sewing machine. Then, cute little dress, or maybe it was a sunsuit. I think I might have. Oh, let me go close the door. I'm doing a video. Yeah, hubby just got home, so. This was a sundress, if I'm not mistaken. Again, look at the width of this. Now this was the center. No. This would have been a side seam. And this, where this notch is out. And look how cute this little rickrack trim is. So that I would keep intact somehow, you know, if it's a journal cover, whatever. But this is what came out of this area. Well, I mean, partly. I obviously took some more of it off. So let's get rid of this for the time being. So this is the back of the little sundress. And I thought, that is so cute. It's got rickrack. It's got buttons that close. I just stayed away from this button placket. Now, if this was ironed, it would lie a little flatter. But I'm thinking, can I not do something with this? You know, wouldn't that be a cute, if I got in close enough, that could be, what do you call it? Belly band. I mean, there is some bulk there, but hey, it's so beautiful. This is the front little bodice. Again, little tiny straps. More of the trim. Little side seams here. Let me just remind myself how wide this was. So this is 5 inches. So again, if I cut, well, let me just cut it. What are we waiting for? So I'm basically just, well, first of all, let me cut these off so there's no collateral damage if I go askew here. Now these, of course, these little straps could be tabs, or they could be glued to the top of a pocket or whatever. And again, I just want to reiterate how much out of these tiny little garments, how many pieces are we actually getting that will, you know, if they get used in the same project, will make it cohesive and matching and all that. So again, I'm just kind of lining up with this red line here. And the edge of that. Well, I have my, whatchamacallit, pinking shears out because I don't use them nearly often enough. Of course, there are multiple thicknesses here at the bottom. Oh, I guess it would help to take the guard off. Now, of course, this could be something. This could be a corner. Where's my macaroni paper? Now that's pretty skinny up there, but that could be a little corner pocket. Okay, we're going to do the same on this side. So we're lining up the bottom roughly with, well, on this side thing, let's move this over so it's more like where we want it to be. And now we have a second little pocket if that's the route a person goes. And because it's totally lined, of course, we have 2 thicknesses of the same fabric. Close this up with a stitch, put a line of stitching there and you've got a cute little pocket. And now we have this beautiful thing that just needs, well, maybe it's a wee bit deep for a pocket. Well, 4, it's not too bad. And of course, a person could reduce some of the bulk by cutting 1/2 inch or so off the bottom, but I'm not going to do that just yet. And again, it would need to be sewn to close up these edges and keep them intact. But that's very cute. And then, of course, you heard what I said about this. One more thing. Now, this is mostly tough because I haven't yet deconstructed it. But it's another cute little dress. Now, mind you, what size is this? Oh, it says 6 to 12 months. Don't you love that range of sizing? But look how long it is. That is one long skirt. But look at these little, well, number one, this cute little bow, cute little piping around here. But these pleats. So you can see how that is going to make something great. Because I did that video on zippers, I would also salvage this zipper because it's a nice little white nylon one, you know, small size. I mean, it's kind of long, but it's not heavy duty like from, you know, an adult garment. And of course, there is this whole cotton lining. Now, there's also, I can't remember, what are these called? Drop pleats or something? So from the waist, or wherever this, I don't know. It probably would, maybe not the kid's natural waist, but wherever. From this point on, there is about 2 inches or 2.5 inches of stitching that made for all these pleats. So it would be kind of nice to keep that intact, perhaps. But in a case like this, I'm not rushing into this. Yeah, it's all 100% cotton. I'm not rushing into this at all, because sometimes you get an idea after the fact, and goodness knows I have lots to work with already. So again, I want to think it through. I know that I probably remove the lining first, because then that just, you know, gets rid of that bulk. And, you know, you're less likely to cut something that you didn't intend to cut. So that, my lovelies, is all I have to say to you today and all I have to show you. But I hope it has convinced you to look in the baby department, the toddler department at the store, at the thrift stores, just because there are so many possibilities. And of course, you know, this is a cute tiny scale print for a tiny little body. So, you know, you're unlikely to get a big cabbage rose, although you might, on your fabric. And there are so many interesting possibilities, is what I'm trying to say here. So I hope that you try it. And as I work with these things, I will keep you posted. So for instance, this one, I think, will end up in one of those blush journals. So if I am making this into a belly band, you'll see it. I just don't know how I'm going to reduce some of the bulk here, but I can ponder that a bit. Or maybe it just ends up being a bit bulky there. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. And if you have not already done so, I would ask that you consider subscribing Closing in on 900 subscribers, and as I've said before, when we hit 1,000, there will be a journal giveaway. So you want to be, aware of that as it's being announced and so on, and qualify. Being a subscriber is always the basic that you need to enter a giveaway. And also be aware, please, of the Pick a Pocket open collaboration. So you don't need to wait to be tagged by somebody. You can just take the initiative next time you're making a pocket, because goodness knows, I think most of us are making pockets probably daily. So if you're particularly proud of a certain pocket that you've done, add the hashtag Pick a Pocket. Put my Hazel Anaka design in the title so I can find it and I'm aware of it. And tag a couple of people and hey, keep the ball rolling and going. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.